This is a fantastic game of Blood Bowl that I played earlier today. I'm just doing a quick 10-minute recap of how the game went. Just to set the scene, there are three teams at the top of the Fumbbl League. It's a 13-game season, and this is week 12 of it. And I am one of those teams, so I need to continue a winning streak to contend for the title, because the other two are very likely to win their next two games, and then it'll come down to sort of most touchdowns and all that malarkey. But I want to finish on the maximum points. So lots going on this one. Just back from a weekend at the NAF Championships and ready to play some Blood Bowl. It's me and my Amazons against Merrick and his Lizards. So if we have a quick look at the teams, I've got a fair few decent players. I've got diving tackle and sidestep. I've got an agility 4 catcher, kickers, frenzy block tackle on Mia, who's pretty cool. Move 7 catcher, who's got sure feet. I try to make her as quick as possible, basically. And a move 7 sure hands thrower, who's my ball sort of collector. So yeah, nice few players. He's gone heavy on mighty blow on his Saurus. So everyone who's skilled up has got mighty blow as a first skill on the Saurus, and then block on the second one there. He's got a sidestep skink. His Crocs is quite nice. Got a block and guard Crocs, and then he's got this star skink there with move 9, agility 4. Let's see how the match played out. So I chose to kick, having won the toss, and set up in a fairly standard way. Now, I probably didn't set up perfectly because I put a fairly decent player near the front. I could have protected them a bit more. I was sort of trying to protect my leader, and I thought a bit of blodge, no harm can come of this. Sadly, harm did come of this. He double powed and then completely smashed up one of my best players as the very first blitz of the game, which was a wee bit rubbish. So that was how the thing was going to go. Removed another player. Apothecary obviously already gone by this stage. Okay, so all I did was just try to put a bit of pressure on him, basically. I was quite lucky there, so I managed to knock out one of his Saurus. So I thought, okay, well, that'll do. 2 of my players off, one of his Saurus off. Reasonable trade. I've put a diving tackle player next to the skink. And then he just moved up a wee bit, but that's not the end of the world by any means. And then removed another player from the pitch, which was a wee bit rubbish. So the players are starting to leave quite considerably. So I'm going for the 3 dice. I'm just trying to move skinks as much as possible, basically, which is what you need to do when you're playing against lizards. And he's just moving slowly sort of up the pitch. He's doing well with the Croxagore, basically getting the Croxagore into as many tackle zones as possible. That's the way to work with, especially the Rat Ogre and the Croxagore with their tails. Makes it very difficult to dodge away. So I'm just trying to get as many hits there we can. There we go. So knocked out a skink, which is quite nice. And now he's going to run down the side. I'm not too worried about that because I sort of allowed it in a way, and that I only put that player there. So what he's going to do is just make what's called a sideline cage. And then try and stop me getting to the ball. And he does quite well with the go for it's on there. He's still got his 4 rerolls that he used. He didn't actually use any rerolls in the first half, as far as I can tell. But what I did now, so I put that player there to negate these 2 tackle zones. And I've got my agility 4 catcher here, who's just going to run around and go for the 5+ dodge in. So a 5+ dodge. So into 3 tackle zones. Sorry, a 5+ is a 5+ with agility 4. So goes for that. Made it on a 6, which is very nice. Needed 2 go for it's, and then obviously no sidestep on that skink there. So I just need a push, which I get, and smack the ball over there. And then it's a lovely throw in for me, really, because I've got these loose players up here who managed to go and get the ball. And I'm reasonably happy with how protected it was. It would have been perfect if this one had managed to dodge out and get round there, because as it is, he has the Croxagore there who is able to smack a tackle zone on me. And then Saurus are actually quite fast, and so he manages to zoom the Saurus over there and pow me. Still hasn't used any rerolls. and then gets the skink sort of next to the ball. So I need to go and recover it somehow. So just a few little punches and recovering some players back to the position. Now I'm not going to complain about the POWs because I managed to POW that skink and remove him from the pitch and then pick up the ball. So quite happy with that. Still making forward progress. Still got the ball. Is all good. But overcomes the empowers me and kills me. So that was Susanna, who was my move 7 thrower with sure hands and block. A little bit disappointing for her to die like that. Makes it more difficult in my last game of the season. He's doing some dodging with Saurus, which is a bit, strange. He did say that was a bad idea. This first reroll of the game. That was a failed go for it for me there. Little snake eyes on the blitz. Which obviously a bit disappointing. Some rubbish dice happening here, as well as all the mighty powers that have been happening. So he's now got 2 turns to get up the pitch. And he has got the Saurus to form a kind of cage around the skink. But again, failed the dodge. So if that dodge had worked, it would have been good, but it's a 5-up dodge. Pleased to knock the Saurus over. 1 dice block. With block against no block. But then I do need to remove that tackle zone. And then I come in here with that one and manage to get a POW. So lots and lots of POWs happening for both people, really, in fairness. So he can't score at this stage. So he's just punching me, which is entirely reasonable behaviour. But no lasting damage, hopefully. Very long shot of me being able to score at all, so nothing very much happens there. Now this stage is quite critical. None of his KOs come back, so 1-1-3 for him and a 6 and a 1 for me. So I get one of my players back and he gets none of his. So it's 7 against 8 in the second half, which is reasonable. Touchback is useful. So I give the ball to my fast catcher. No, my agile catcher. And then just do a little bit of marking up and get the ball over there. This one was just slightly badly positioned, that one. If it was there, then it would have been impossible for him to get to my ball carrier. But unfortunately, slight bit of mispositioning there because his Croxagore then comes in, smashes up my player on the way, and then creates this massive hole. So quite a big mistake there. And Croxagore next to the player with the ball. So all I can do really is the 3-up dodge away from the tail, which is not ideal. 1 in 9 chance of going wrong, but didn't go wrong, so that was happy days. But now his Croxagore is zooming after me, blitzes. So lots of go for it's with the Croxagore again, and no failed boneheads or anything like that. Uses a reroll there. And now another 3-up dodge. So if any of these 3-ups had failed, I'd have been in all sorts of trouble, but they were sort of working. So that's quite nice. So all that's happening now is he's chasing my Amazons around the pitch. And then he gets a 1 dice POW on my ball carrier, which was, I may have sworn inadvertently at this stage, with my children in the room, but let's not mention that. Push back there, and then I managed to knock him over. It's quite nice. Go and get the ball. And now his POWs have dried up, which is quite good news. So he's just pushing my players around, which is what you want for Amazons. You sort of are happy for your players to be pushed around. At this stage, that's an interesting one actually, because I wasn't quite sure what to do in order to best free my ball carrier. So what I'm going to do now is blitz this one and ideally, knock them down. But this one still could have dodged out. Still needs to dodge out. Whereas if I had just put the catcher there, then I could have done a 2 dice blitz. I didn't even need to use that one. I could have just done a 2 dice blitz with this player immediately. And then if I'd have been sort of guaranteed the POW, basically, then I could have got the hit and then run off without having to make the dodge. So that would have been a slightly better play, actually. But as it so another 3-up dodge working there, and then resuming down the pitch. So he gets the couple of tackle zones on there, does some crazy dodging. Now at this stage it's a little bit tricky because I don't have any tackle, or didn't think I had any block down there either, so it's quite tricky to get rid of these skinks. Need the powers to do that, so I just thought I would take the hit on that one, but unfortunately the sidestep there, and then he sort of manages to catch up with me basically, because the Saurus are quite fast, quite a few go for it's, and just means that basically I'm now surrounded by big lizards, which is slightly unpleasant. So things start to go wrong for me at this stage because the POW doesn't happen there. Then I tried a 4-up dodge to get out, so it was a 4-up, 3-up. And at this stage I thought my championship had gone for me. So let's see what happens. Yep, so just a bit of knocking into the crowd there. And then he decides to try and blitz me into the crowd. But it was only a 1 dice, and it failed. And so I was able to pick up the ball and score. So thank you very much to Merrick for that, because it keeps the championship dream alive. Not quite sure what he was doing, because you wouldn't get any bonus points for pushing players in the crowd anyway. There was a slight 1-turn score possibility here, but didn't quite come off. Slightly non-ideal setup for that, I think. But yeah, so the 1-turn score didn't happen. But that was quite an entertaining game. Lots and lots of blood in the first half, and then 2 back and forth shenanigans. So hopefully one of my title-chasing compadres will lose their games, and I'll be able to win my last one and then win the title. But it's quite a nice little run-in happening for the Fumbbl season title.